I thought it was about time to do a basic boat review on this. I haven't really done that yet. I wanted to get some time on it, and I think I've got enough time on it, and I finally got full power out of it. I got past the L mode, and so I got a good feel for that. So for anybody that doesn't know, it's a Wattscraft 3.8 meter with the swim deck. It measured out about 13.4, I believe, is on the title. And I did not install the original swim deck with it. I just kind of used the platform that came with the swim deck and built this out. And I like that. The original swim deck with the pump tunnel, it would be fine. I'm sure. I don't think there's any big advantages to this or that. I don't know if there's any, hydronic reasoning behind it, but this seems to work well, so I'm pretty good with it. Everything seems to be set up right now as far as, I've through the process had modifications I've made, like the skid plate I got wrong. It was pointed down at one point. Fabricated these bars and bent them and installed them. And just put that plate on there for the pump guard. But anyway, 3.8 dual tank, 1.8 liter, high output, naturally aspirated Yamaha. They say it's about 180 horsepower. They don't really officially rate it. The two tanks, I believe, are supposed to be 12 gallons each. Using the original jet ski, pump and gauge and all that stuff for the fuel tank. And that is it's a little bit strange on how it's functioning. There'll be times we'll be out boating and it'll be down to two digits on the scale, and then we'll run for a little while and it'll be all the way up or closer to full. So far for every run, I've just put a few gallons in it, and we've gone out for an hour and a half of run time probably. Seems like it takes 4 or 5 hours to do that, but it's all good. It's a fun day on the river. So, I like the dual tank. It's supposed to even the weight out. You're supposed to put the weight in the back, according to what I was told initially. And I think that's probably true because, when you think about going through rapids and stuff, the more weight you have forward, the more possibility you have of dipping your bow. We've been running some rapids that are pretty good size, which is one of the reasons I wanted this hole, because from what I can tell, it's a deeper hole. They advertise it as a deeper hole. They peg it as that, and it is pretty deep. And I wanted something, if I'm going to be out in those rapids, squirrely water, stuff like that, I've got a little more boat above the water. And I feel pretty safe in the boat, and I feel like it handles pretty well. The only issue with handling that I've had is just the fact that I transferred a twist to the bottom of the boat, and it does pull right, so I have to counter steer that. And when I get weight in it, like I had like 450 pounds of people in here with me a couple rides ago, and it really heavily pulls to the right, and it leans. It even leans, when I'm planed out, when I'm in there by myself slightly. So it's like, I know that's the bottom of the hole, pushing and pulling, which it kind of sucks, but it's not really that big a deal. You just kind of get used to it and do your thing. It'd be nice if it wasn't there, but it's in, it's there. It's staying. So I ended up going with this seat, and I'm glad for it. I like the fact that it sits low. Most of the ones I see online are, people in bench seats sitting higher than their windshield. And maybe that's not so with the Northwest windshield. I don't know, but they're definitely sitting higher up in the boat. The boats mostly look like lower profile holes. And I just feel better about having a taller hull and having the center of gravity lower. And this seat, this is a PRP seat, I believe it's called. It was a brand. Ordered it. It was like $700 with shipping. And really happy with this. The only thing I wish I'd done is ordered the seat with the strap holes for strapping you in. Not because I want to strap me in, but because this holds water. And last summer we got a bunch of water on there. You're basically sitting in water. So, that's, I don't think, too hard to remedy. I'm going to have to somehow, I don't know, take it to a upholsterer. I couldn't do it properly and cut some drain holes in it. Like I said, no, not really a big deal, but, with all the winter running we're doing, the splashing we get, it's not really an issue. You're not in and out of the boat after being in the water. So far we've avoided that naturally. So, let's see what else. The windshield, I really like this setup. I was basically just cobbling it together to get it on and just kind of thinking and building. It's really actually worked well. And the wipers are cool to have. Once in a while, I'll get backsplash on this side of the windshield, and I kind of joked I'd put another pair on the inside. But I don't know. You might see it in the future. Hopefully that doesn't happen a lot. And part of the reason that splash comes up is because this reverse bucket is throwing water up and over, and it will actually splash the people in the boat if you hit it hard enough. A normal just kind of putting around reverse, it's not really a problem. I might look at a different reverse bucket at some point. This one works fine for just tootling around, turning, stuff like that. I think it's not that great a performance for needing a lot of powerful reverse in a bind. I would say it kind of sucks for that. So, because this one actually throws it up and down on the back portion of it, which I really don't care for. I'd rather see it cup to the bottom and a more radical downturn. Obviously got the skid plate there, so the downturn we have to not just hit the skid plate. And that's the thing, jet skis don't, they're just set up different. They're set up for this, so I'd have to consider that, figure out a bucket. I know they sell universal ones, not in a big hurry. Kind of a modification I'd look at in the future. For now, it's fine. I'm hoping I'm not in a real hairy situation where I'm either going to get pinned on a rock and sink or have a good reverse. I'm trying to ease into the bigger stuff, get used to it, feel comfortable with running the boat through it, knowing what's going to happen. So for now, I'd say, that reverse bucket's fine. But windshield worked out great. It's real sturdy. I was concerned. I initially was thinking about putting braces here. I really just like having this open. People can just pop right in the seat. And, this is strong enough. This is like 1/8 inch, 1 inch OD square tubing. And, people grab it and pull on it. And, nobody's grabbed the top and just jerked hard. But you can put weight on it, no big deal. The center post is super strong. This thing does not vibrate at all. I mean, all the bumps and everything, it's a solid windshield. It's latched in tight with this rubber seal here that squishes down on the latch, and it just holds it nice, So, haven't had to use the bilge, but it's there. It seems like the boat doing real good on not taking on water. Between the bulkhead and the kill mat and all that, the resonance vibration really, that noise is really reduced. And I'm pretty happy with that. As far as noise, it's got pretty normal noise when you're running. I've had other boats and none of them are just, super quiet when you're doing 40 miles an hour plus. So, it's all good there. The boat on this last trip, after I got it out of L mode, did a speedometer test, and it hit at 44 miles an hour with, myself and another 150 pounds. So we had about 350 pounds of people in it. Fuel tanks weren't topped off, probably half full. That's your main weight that you add to it. We didn't have a bunch of cargo or anything. So, and 44, I've always been okay with that. That's pretty good for a boat, and out in the river, I just don't need a speedboat, and I really don't even want to do 70 miles an hour. I mean, it might be kind of fun, but it's just not going to be what I'm doing most of the time. And when you hit those rapids at flipping 40, there's plenty to, I don't think I need to go over them any faster. And actually, in fact, I think I need to go over them slower, because I'm finding that blowing down them fast every time, or even up, probably isn't even the best way to hit them. I'm just experimenting, just trying things out. So a lot more to learn on actually driving the boat. I found out this last trip, going downstream, I had a big old wake and a wave of like a V shape right at the top of a rapid, and I just dropped the bow, let off the gas, and whooped into it, and then hit the gas right off the top and caught air. And I'm like, that was sweet. So, if you're just running full speed down things, first of all, it just beats the crap out of you. And it's not really all that fun. I mean, it kind of is, but I'm finding that, in the waves where I can, when I know it's just going to be a bumpy ride, I can just turn the boat a little bit sideways into those waves and kind of roll them instead of bam, bam, bam. So there's a lot to drive in there that I'm just learning as I go, trying to figure things out. So when it came off of L mode, finally got the full power. I kind of convinced myself that it wasn't going to be that much more. I'm like, okay, I'm just need to be content with what it has. I wouldn't say I was disappointed with what it had prior to coming out of L mode, but it would have been nice to have a little more, especially at low speeds. It definitely wasn't a whole shotter. It was kind of slow, and the more weight you put in it, the worse it was. With one person, it wasn't bad, but I'm usually going out with somebody. So, anyway, I would say it was kind of doggy on the low end. And after L mode, it would just jump out of the hole. I mean, it was on plane, just seemed like instantly almost. So I was like, whoa, that was a big difference on that bottom end. And of course, what I found is with this motor and pump and this boat with this much weight, cruising speed, if you have a light load, you can get down to about 4,500 RPMs, but then you're starting to lose your plane. So just general running to be on plane, 45 is at the bottom. 5,000 is a nice comfort zone. Haven't really checked the speed at the RPM. I know at 7,000 RPMs I'm doing 44, 7,200, something like that. It seems to out of the hole when I pull the trigger, shoot up to 8, and then it, it's the engine control system. It backs off to about 772 right in there, and that's where it wants to hold with full throttle. And it's going as fast as I want to go. I really don't like running things full RPMs all the time. I tend to be a low-end power guy just from the old days. And, higher RPM stuff it's fine, but I just naturally kind of want to run lower RPMs if possible. And maybe that's just my mentality. Don't want to overwork things or make them last or whatever. But so I would say 5 to 6 is like normally just cruising along. And now that it's come out of L mode was limited it to 6,000 RPMs, and I don't think it was given it. It's more responsive now in the throttle as well, so I think it's snappier. So it wasn't just RPMs they were limiting, I don't think. But I was really impressed once I got the extra power, and not that necessarily the top speed. There's not a huge difference between, there's not a huge gain between 6 and 7. It's not like it just jumps out of the water at those RPMs. Because 772 is the top cruising. It just gives you the extra speed, gets you extra oomph if you need it. But where it's really nice is when you're down at 5 and you hit the gas. Now being out of L mode, it does jump at 5,500 RPMs. It does jump. And it gives you more control. It's fun, and it really made the fun factor a lot better. And so I'm completely content. I went with the naturally aspirated, not the supercharged version. And of course, it is for a mini boat. It is a bigger model. I guess they got the Skookum now that actually has the transom that works with your exhaust and all that stuff. It's like back cut instead of on the inside, instead of adding that pump tunnel thing in the back after the transom goes on. So they changed that design. Obviously, that's way better. I think they still sell the 3.8 kits. I don't know, but I would definitely want the Skookum. From what I saw, I think Jolly Roger guy was building them, and definitely like the looks of those. And let's see, there's not a lot left to be done. Just little things like I want to build storage compartments on the sides of the seat, and I'll just make them piece by piece. Put some kind of lid on there, but basically a 3-sided thing that's probably angled down. Just be able to lift, put wallet, different kinds of stuff in there. Maybe a drink or whatever, because right now we're just kind of throwing this dry box here on the floor. It's got gloves in it, and that's where I put my wallet and keys and all that stuff, the registration, whatnot, which is fine. It's just kind of down there at your feet. I'd like to kind of get it off to the side. So a couple storage compartments on the side. Not really a lot I want to add. I might put a GoPro mount up here, but ultimately right now one of my concerns is just building a frame I can throw on here and has a post that goes across to the GoPro mount somehow, and then throw my boat cover on it, because I ordered one. I don't want it in the shop forever. I don't want it to bake in the sun, and I don't want it out in the rain. So I don't have a building for it. Don't really have space or the desire to build one at this point. So that's something I want to do. Probably just take round tubing, bend it to fit the top of the windshield, put a peg in the middle to stick it in here, and have a pole that goes back to the GoPro mount back there. Other than that, I'm totally content. I still got to build this window stop. So I was going to build something, probably bolts right here, and then this can kind of just come up against and hit, just keep the hinge from overextending. Really hasn't been a problem. I mean, everybody's just careful with it, and it really, I don't think it's doing any damage. But I don't like it, the fact that right there the hinges are in the bind. So let's see what else. Yeah, this decking was just cheap stuff I got on Amazon, and we put a little bit of traffic on it. I mean, mostly we're just trafficking the deck, getting in and stepping on the back deck once in a while, getting on there. But stuff stuck really good. I used the 3M spray, cleaned the metal really well, acetone, put it on, and it's just really comfortable. It's just soft to sit on. It's not that, like right here, cold metal versus decking, you can just feel it. It's like comfort and nice cold metal. In the summer, it's going to be hot metal, I suppose. So, if this had the 300 horsepower, the supercharged version, it'd be cool to be in this particular model with this much weight, just see what the difference was. But for the money, for the potential longevity being less, I'm not disappointed with this at all. And I really don't think we're going to have a problem shooting those rapids. We've shot some pretty good ones. And I'm pretty much blown through them so far. My next phase, I want to kind of, like on some of that big stuff, I want to get in those fast, steep streams and go through slow. I just want to see what it will do. Because that's going to make me even feel better about it if I'm not blowing through something and I need to maneuver, and when I'm in that kind of water, know what I've got to deal with it, you know. So I just want to find the right situations where I'm not taking too much risk and then play with it. But from what I can tell, you know, I'm just not going to have a problem. The power's good. You know, I can catch air over wakes. That's pretty good, you know, just by punching it right at the top or coming into it and push over and catch some air. And, you know, I don't really have any desire to run this thing over sandbars or anything else. I mean, it looks cool on videos, but I just don't see the point in tearing things up. It doesn't seem like it would really even be that fun. I would do it out of necessity, even if I was out running and, well, it was the only way I'm going to keep going. Yeah, I'd do it, you know, but I'm not looking for it really. You know, there's, at least at the moment, there's plenty of fun to have in rapids and water. So, overall, I got a lot of money into it, more than I would pay for one, you know, so it's one of those things that I don't know if building them to sell them, unless you can find a lot of buyers with a lot of money, it certainly wouldn't be worth it to me, even if I was good at it, which I'm not. I got it done. I built my boat. I can say, hey, I built the thing. You know, but it's not professionally done. And, you know, anybody who wants to nitpick it can certainly do it, you know, and I'll sit there and say, yeah, you're right. But it's as far as the utilitarian aspect of it, the purpose behind that, it's functional and it's solid, you know, and I don't have any real big worries about it. I think I'll have years of taking it out, and, you know, if you saw my videos, I got lots of family and friends, and other people still haven't gone out, you know, and it's just a kick in the butt, and not too many people get to do that stuff. You know, I don't know anybody else personally that's doing it. I know there's other people around. But man, when I take people out, there's just like a thrill ride to them, you know? And, so yeah, I think the performance is good. I like the size because you have room for things. I mean, you know, even after all this stuff, I could fit like a medium-sized cooler in there, no sweat, you know? I got a tool bag there, but you can, you know, I can put the tools under the seat. You know, you could put even more stowage there. So, you know, I suppose if someone was into, you know, like in Alaska where they run up and do their hunting thing, it would haul some stuff, you know. Even for a day trip, just plenty of room to throw your stuff in and go somewhere and picnic out on the beach of a lake and do whatever. Of course, someday I might clean this up. Right now, it's just totally functional and fine. This funky looking steering wheel, you know, and it works great. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the videos, but I can sit on the deck with my feet on the seat and just sit there and run comfortably, you know. And it was kind of nice yesterday to just get my head above the windshield, get some wind in my face, you know, cruising along a nice flat stretch. It, you know, felt good. It was cool air and sunny day, and, you know, but I certainly wouldn't want a foot pedal, especially when you're bumping around like that. I know some people like foot pedals. I wouldn't do it. And I'm not really just going for the best looking boat in town, obviously, and it never will be. But I get a lot of people stare at it and stop and ask me at the gas station about it. But otherwise, it's just totally usable there. Even the trim control, you just get a little bit used to where it's at and which buttons to hit. You don't even have to look down. Throttles in a comfortable position. You know, it all just works. So, that's the way I'm going to leave it, you know. So it's not too much more. There'll be little tweaky things to do, you know, maybe different reverse bucket, storage compartments, you know, got to put a frame together for the boat cover. Sure, I'll come up with some other stuff. But right now, you know, what's nice is I can put it in the garage, in the shop here, and do nothing to it until next Saturday, get some gas on the way and go. There's really nothing to maintain. You know, other than changing your oil and the normal maintenance stuff, but it's, you know, it's a dependable rig, I believe, that's going to last a long time. That's what I was after. And in the summer, we'll probably have it down here in the river. You know, the rivers I'm running now will be too low to even think about. There may be other rivers to go to in the summer. I really don't know. I've been told the Rogue has enough water in summer to run it. Might explore that, but I don't know much else. So it might be cool to take it to a lake, you know, and just tootle around, maybe do some tubing and stuff. I'm just not sure once I get it down here and we get to summer low, I can get through the upper rapids and get it out. And I got no place to pull it out of the water here, so I got to go to a boat ramp. But and there's room down here to do tubing and stuff. You just have to know where you're going and what you're doing, and don't throw somebody over some shallow rocks that are just under the water. But other than that, we've skied, kneeboard, tubed out here with other boats. So we'll definitely be doing that this summer. If it gets stuck down here, then great. That's where it'll be for summer. And we'll look forward to some higher river levels in the fall, spring, winter, whatever. I thought about possibly for winter I've got a dry suit. I was thinking about getting another one for my wife and replacing the rubbers on it. But it's a good all around, you know, and I thought about putting fishing chairs and stuff on. I'm like, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't really think so. You know, this is pretty comfortable. Just to sit right here if you just want to sit here and fish, you know, it's just not really a problem. Or you can possibly just, you know, turn around and sit right here and fish off the side, you know, whatever works. I don't really want to mount anything permanent, you know, through the deck or anything. I thought about a chair mount, and that would work. And there's room up there where you put a chair mount in the middle. You could have a pole mounted chair and just swivel around, fish off the front. You know, it's pretty stable. You know, obviously it's going to rock when you walk around, but it's not, you know, you can pretty much walk around on it pretty hardcore and not worry about it tipping or anything like that. So anyway, I'm not sure what else to add, but other than, you know, everybody wants the supercharged versions. At this point, I'm glad I went with what I did. Now that I've got the full power, I got a good quick hole shot. You know, I might get a couple more miles per hour with just me in the boat. But 44 miles an hour with two people in it, two adults, is great. And it seems to be handling really well through the rapids. And yeah, definitely happy. So I guess that's my basic review. I really don't know what else to add. If anybody has questions, you can put them in the comments as usual. But I definitely like these seats. I like that windshield. I don't think I would care for the bucket seats. First of all, I don't think you can get 3 in here. You might get, I don't know. I guess I have to measure them, but you might get 3 bucket seats in this. It's a 60-inch width between rails, 60 to 61, because I don't think they're exactly as designed, but you know, that middle person I've had in it several times. So I've had 2 adults here and a child on a lap, you know, with me driving. And that was on the L mode. You know, it would have been cool to see with that full load what, you know, the difference, but I know it would have been better, obviously. And I think with the full load like that, you know, I think the most I've had is probably 450 to 500 pounds, probably 450. in there with me. So I guess that's 650 pounds of just seat cargo. And the boat was fully runnable. It's you can tell a difference every 100-200 pounds you put in it. But now it's off L mode. I'm sure you'll still feel the weight, but it'll definitely scoot better and jump out of the hole better, all that stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, if you're going for the race boat, the supercharged versions, you can look up the fuel usage data, and it's a big difference as opposed to the naturally aspirated version. So every time you go out, whether you're using it or not, you actually are paying for it. If you just slowly get up to plane and cruise at 35 miles an hour or 40 miles an hour. I was looking at those specs a long time ago, and they just pull down. Just because the displacement's the same size doesn't mean that if you take it easy, you get as good a fuel mileage. It didn't work out that way. So you pay for it every time you go out. You're pushing more horsepower in the same block. Your engine longevity is definitely not going to be as good. You possibly have more fun. I think they have bigger impellers. They push more water. They can move the weight faster and quicker. So there's a definite element there that's desirable. Just like any hot rod, people know they're going to put tons of money into it. They'll never get it back out, but they're doing it for what it is. So anyway, hope that's helpful to anybody that's looking to build one and looking at sizes and styles. I would say I would recommend the 3.8 Wattscraft, possibly the Skookum. I think it's a 3.8 with some those other modifications. If you don't end up with a twisted hole, I would just check all those bands, verify everything's great. I'm hopefully they're just putting out good kits now. If they got their bending down, they figured out what their problems were when I bought this thing, and have resolved them, and they're not putting those out anymore. Because otherwise, I think their prices have actually gone down. I think I paid as much as $1,000-$2,000 more than I think they're selling them for now. So they've refined something there, and they've definitely, I think, dropped their prices a little bit. I could be wrong, but that's kind of just browsing their websites, what I was seeing. I like the looks of the Avengers and stuff, but they look like they have really small hoods. That part's useless except for maybe stepping on it and getting in over their windscreen. But if you put those tall Northwest windshields on with bucket seats, I don't know. I don't think there's as much usable space. And if you're not after usable space on the boat, then it's not a problem. I'm sure, lighter, smaller boats with more horsepower, that's what it is. And I don't know if I'm going to be going in really shallow, creaky, jumping log water. I don't know if that's going to be my thing. It may not, because this is a bigger and probably heavier boat than, Sea-Doo 3-cylinder supercharged, an 11-foot boat. It's like this really can't compete with that. But that's not what I wanted, So anyway, take her easy, y'all.